He also earned a master's degree in environmental health. Dr. Mike has been teaching martial arts and police defensive tactics for decades and has worked with the local police departments to federal agencies, including the New Jersey State Police SWAT team, FBI, U.S. Marshals, DEA, and U.S. Diplomatic Security. He was also presented with 2 certificates of appreciation by the U.S. Secret Service. The doctor is also the host of the Super Mike Show, America's Holistic Hero, that will be premiering on Roku's streaming health TV channel this quarter. The mission of his show is to be a survival guide to life, to deliver the truth to you. Here he is, Dr. Mike Evangel.
There is only one truth. The truth sometimes is hard to find, though, but it is out there. To find the truth, you have to wade through a lot of misinformation many times. I'm not sure how many people remember Ancel Keys. Anybody ever hear of Ancel Keys? Okay, the lipid hypothesis. This guy manipulated data. Got his picture on the cover of Time magazine, January 1961. He said, eating fat will kill you. Well, still today, the American Heart Association is adhering to this antiquated information. The food pyramid's upside down. The most calories should be from healthy fats, the least from carbohydrates. Carbohydrates age us, they create oxidative stress. The ketogenic diet is much better. But that's a story for another day. But the point is that people were misled for over half a century. Finally, in 2014, Time magazine had on the cover, butter is better, how the scientists got it wrong. Same thing happened with coffee. Thought coffee caused cancer. Actually prevents cancer. So the truth is out there. What Dr. Ted Korn was talking about before is very true. But people put misinformation out there sometimes for their own agenda, sometimes to make money, sometimes they just don't know. But today I want to tell you some things that I believe is the truth. First of all, I shouldn't be here today. I should be dead many times over. I was almost never born. My doctor, when I was a kid, Dr. Louis Angeletti from Fort Lee, my mom was hemorrhaging. He went on vacation. He gave my parents his phone number on vacation at the hotel. Covering doctor wanted to abort me. He said I was going to be retarded. That was a medical term back then. It's not that much today. I didn't find out about this until I got my physical to go to chiropractic school. I found out from him. He said, "You're not even supposed to be here." I said, "What? Your parents never told you?" I said, "No." I went and asked them, and they said, "Oh, what do you think is important?" I said, "You didn't think it was important? I was never born." The covering doctor wanted to abort me. He came back from vacation and took care of my mom every day. And that's why I'm here. Then I let the emergency brake on the family car rolling down the hill. My cousin jumped in the car, stepped on the brake. I bounced off a truck when I was 5, ran across the street. But the best one was when I was an adult. I was about 20, how old was I? About 27 years old, 26. Coming back from a karate training camp in Bangor, Maine. It was the United States karate team camp. It was a week of hell. I went through torture for a week. Got us up, ran 7 miles in the morning. Then we did morning exercises, afternoon, night. I was to the point where I actually made fun of somebody. I had to do front kicks with a 250-pound guy, my shoulders all the way across the football field. Had to pull myself up the staircase. Coming back, and a car swerved 3 times, going north in the southbound lanes. Right before I thought I was going to die, I said, "God, if you're going to kill me, why couldn't you have done it on the way up?" So right this last split second, my life actually flashed before my eyes, type of thing. You hear that cliche. It's not a cliche. It happens. So I got back and I decided to write my philosophy of life. That was, what was that? It was 25, because it was 1979. And it goes like this. It took all day to write it. It goes like this. I actually had it in my chiropractic yearbook as a quote. They wanted a quote, but I never told anybody it was for me. I didn't put anonymous either, though. I just didn't put anything. It goes like this. Do not be afraid to reach for goal beyond your grasp. The power and limitations of the human mind and soul have never been defined. For a person without a goal or direction in life, does not anticipate tomorrow, but drifts with the tides of time. And really, that's when I started writing things back then, and I really haven't stopped because I was never much of a writer. But I do believe that God has a special gift for every one of us. The problems are that some of us haven't opened that package yet, and others never will. So look out there and find your gift if you haven't found it yet, because you have at least one. Some people were a little greedy. They were online a couple times when the gifts were being handed out up in heaven. S2173. That's the bill. It seems like everybody knows about it. But the human body was a gift given to us by God, made in God's image. It's perfect when given the proper set of circumstances, which will be without having excesses or deficiencies. I challenge anybody to tell me any problem anybody has that is not an excess or a deficiency. No one's come up with it yet. Now the problem is, we have way too many excesses and way too many deficiencies. The GMOs Dr. Shiv was talking about before. You have the toxins that Dr. Ted was talking about before. You have all the psychological stresses. You have all the biomechanical stresses. The kids, if you saw that news article a little while back about the horn growing off the head from having the head flex forward so much because they're texting so much, people can't even carry on a conversation because they're texting so much. But that's a story for another day, as they say. But we have to be better stewards of the gift given to us by God, the human body. Excesses in vaccines, 3 that we all know, familiar with. A lot of the toxins, you're not familiar with the names, but mercury, aluminum, and formaldehyde. They're all potent neurotoxins that cause death or serious injury when entering the human body. These are not good things. The idea of stimulating the immune system to make it stronger is a sound one. And that's what disease does, as Dr. Ted was saying. However, to do it artificially, it's like the old commercial from Chiffon Margarine, if you remember that one. It's not nice to fool Mother Nature. And then the raccoon covered his face because Mother Nature made it lightning and thunder because she was fooled. She thought it was butter. But when I was growing up, people thought margarine was healthy, but it's all trans fat. It's unhealthy. So our God-given immunity is perfect if it's allowed to operate the way it's supposed to be. It's my personal religious belief that no animal should be killed for the purpose of scientific investigation or to create vaccines or for sport, only for food, for clothing, or in self-defense if you're getting attacked by an animal, of course. They also use aborted fetal cells, too. Senate Bill 2173 is not consistent with the American spirit, with democracy in general, or the U.S. Constitution, or the Constitution of the state of New Jersey. Maine, West Virginia, California, New York, and Mississippi don't have religious exemptions anymore. New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Connecticut are on the chopping block. We don't want to be chopped in New Jersey. We are tough. We are tough. If you saw The Sopranos, you know what I'm talking about. And we don't take crap from people. They've drawn the line in the sand in the backyard, the hub of the pharmaceutical industry. I have a lot of patients that work for the pharmaceutical industry, and they don't take drugs for their family because they know all the side effects. It's amazing. The pill for the ill is not the cure. As it was said in Forks Over Knives, if you saw that movie, the cure for disease is on your dinner plate. Through food, nutrition, lifestyle modifications, and supplements. Unfortunately, lettuce, romaine lettuce, has 1/20th of the selenium it used to have 100 years ago. So it's difficult for us to eat our way to good health only, even if you eat organic. So we are drawing the line in the sand and saying you can't take this state. And then the other states can follow suit, because if we fall, it was like the case with Dr. Corman, because he knew he had the best scientific literature in the industry. If he fell, everybody else will fall like dominoes. If New Jersey falls, the other states will fall like dominoes, and we're not playing dominoes. We're playing for keeps. Now what happened, I prayed to God New Year's Eve. Now, it wasn't for New Year's resolution. I prayed to God for guidance. I've only prayed a handful of times in my life. Every time I seriously prayed for something, it came about. So I don't want to abuse my direct line to heaven. What I abuse for is knowledge and guidance. And I really believe that there is a universal intelligence that we all can tap into. Einstein and Tesla tapped into this, and they believed in that. And anybody can tap into it because I think it's out there. It's part of the Holy Spirit, it's part of the universe, and it's out there. And, you know, you say, oh, the Big Bang, that's where the universe came from. Well, I taught science again last year, one more time, for a friend of mine, Bill Parisi, Parisi Prep Academy in Franklin Lakes. During my 2 lunch breaks, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I said, I can't teach regular science. But I researched it, and in Genesis, there's 13 major points of Genesis. 9 have been proven by science. Genesis was written 4,000 years ago. 3 are like, and taking the rib of Adam, making Eve, that's like off the charts as far as science goes. But it's amazing how the Bible correlates with science. And Genesis keeps on saying, let the earth bring forth. That's what God said. And it follows the basic pattern of what we know happened. And people said, oh, the Big Bang, 13.8 billion years ago. Well, who's the cosmic chicken that laid the cosmic egg that made the Big Bang? Well, it's God. God is out there. And God did that. So, after I prayed, I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning, New Year's morning, Happy New Year, and I decided to examine the New Jersey Constitution. Because having a martial arts background, I know that in reading the Art of War by Sun Tzu, you must know your enemy. What's the playbook in the NFL? Well, they have a playbook, they have a rules book. What's the rules book for politicians? The Constitution. Even though it looks like what's happening, some of them haven't read it lately or at all. That's the question. Somebody sent me a message on Facebook yesterday. What is it? Are they stupid? Are they just ignoring it? Well, my prayers were answered way beyond my wildest imagination. I actually ran this past Jim Turner, who is on the Supreme Court bar. He is the one that helped Dr. Ted avoid jail and bankruptcy. And he said, my whole legal point is spot on. And I'm just amazed that no lawyer came up with this before, because maybe they weren't looking at it out of the box. I always try to look at things so far out of the box, I don't know where the box is anymore. So with the New Jersey Constitution, first I found out it was drafted in Rutgers, at Rutgers, and he said the University of New Jersey, I guess it was only state university at the time, in 1947, from June to September 47, it was drafted, and it was ratified the next year. But there have been 54 amendments to the New Jersey Constitution. How does the amendment come about? I didn't know, but I found out. Because what I like to do is research things, but places where you know you're getting the truth. 54 amendments, 60% of the state assembly, 60% of the state senate, and ratified by general election. They have to go to the people. That's how they have to do it. And inalienable rights are in there. I didn't even know what that was really. I knew it's important, something that's important. Well, it's a right that cannot be taken away by definition. So, I'm getting my Google law degree. It's amazing though, all 6 provisions that I found were in the original Constitution and in the present Constitution. And the following explains why New Jersey Senate Bill S2173 violates the New Jersey Constitution no less than 6 times. First, the preamble. We, the people of the state of New Jersey, gratefully to Almighty God. They weren't afraid to thank God. It wasn't politically incorrect in 1947 when they drafted it. Almighty God, for the civil and religious liberty which he, capital H, hath so long permitted us to enjoy. Now, God might be a woman, but I don't want to go there right now. They're saying he, but, it's Mother Earth, but God's a man. Don't even get into that. Looking to him for a blessing upon our endeavors to secure and transmit the same unimpaired to succeeding generations, do ordain and establish this Constitution. First of all, we the people, we live, I said, in a democracy. It's actually a republic. I was corrected. We live in a republic, and when you're doing the Pledge of Allegiance, the republic which it stands, not a socialist, not a monarchy, not a communist state, not a dictatorship. The United States modeled our government after the ancient Greeks. The birthplace of democracy was 508 BC. And democracy means in Greek, ruled by the people. That's what it means. The civil and religious liberty which he hath so long permitted us to enjoy. Going back to the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. And then, quote, looking to him for a blessing upon our endeavors. Looking to God for a blessing. These were God-fearing people that wrote our Constitution. And, quote, to secure and transmit the same unimpaired. Unimpaired means you can't mess with it. To succeeding generations, do ordain, like an ordained ministry, and establish this Constitution. So unimpaired is the very important point. Now, the actual Constitution itself, how does this violate what they're doing in the Constitution? Article 1, paragraph 1, and I quote, all persons by nature are free and independent and have certain natural and unalienable rights, among which those enjoined in defending life and liberty. Well, if your child gets injected with a vaccine and the child dies, it's a chance of that. So you're defending the life of your child by not choosing the vaccine. That's within our constitutional rights. Liberty is the choice that we're given in the United States and in New Jersey. So both are violated. They're both unalienable, which means by definition can't be taken away. So parents therefore have the New Jersey constitutional right to protect the lives of themselves and their children against potentially dangerous things, which could be an animal, could be intruder into your house, or an injection into the human body. Liberties under the Constitution also. We pay the highest tax dollars per square foot in the United States. We have some of the best educational schools in the United States. Why should we pay those top tax dollars and have our children thrown out of the schools and homeschooled, which is going to be a huge financial imposition to the parents? Either have to make the choice of staying home or hiring somebody to educate their child. That's not acceptable, and we're not going to tolerate it. Other inalienable right, pursuing and obtaining safety and happiness. Vaccines are not safe. Vaccines are so dangerous that was mentioned before. 1986, under Ronald Reagan, the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Fund was started. Now, this is extremely important because I'm going to show how many people know that 75-cent tax is placed on every dose of every vaccine. So the MMR, DPT, $2.25. It goes into this fund. The powerful pharmaceutical industry, Big Pharma, lobbied Congress to give them immunity against lawsuits. And the doctors that inject children to immunity. Nothing else in law or medicine is like this. Nothing. If a child is injured, there's a national injury vaccine table with vaccine injuries. If you go down there, there's about 16 vaccines on there now. There's constantly more added, about half that amount at the beginning. If your child dies, for example, who knows how much that is? $250,000 death. If they don't die, it costs more if somebody's disabled. Is a life worth $250,000? No, it's a lot more than that. It's an insult. But you can't sue, you have to go to the fund, and over $4.2 billion with a B has been paid out, but it's projected that the vaccine industry is going to be worth in the future $93 billion a year. So that's a drop in the bucket, an acceptable loss, 75 cents per vaccine. So since vaccines are not safe, and we're allowed to pursue safety, it's the third violation of the New Jersey Constitution. The fourth would be pursuing happiness. Now that's very ambiguous, it's very subjective, the word happiness. So I really don't want to get into that, but if your child dies, you're not going to be happy, I'll tell you that much. I'm not sure if there's any parent that would. I seriously doubt it, even the worst parent in the world. Now, vaccines have been documented to cause death and injury. Creating the risk of death or injury by forced vaccination to attend public school is not aligned with safety, not aligned with protecting life, certainly not aligned with happiness. And according to the Constitution of the state of New Jersey, there's a fourth violation that I'm going to discuss right now. And that is, and I quote paragraph 3 of Article 1, no person shall be deprived of the inestimable privilege of worshiping Almighty God in a manner agreeable to the dictates of his own conscience. Now, when I was talking to Jim Turner, and he, is kind of like really respected in the chiropractic world because he was the head attorney in the Wilkes antitrust lawsuit where Chester Wilk sued the American Medical Association and won. And medical doctors had in their bylaws the rules of the AMA. They couldn't associate with chiropractors or refer to chiropractors. That was a cease and desist order because it violated the RICO racketeering rules and regulations. But with this, okay, he told me that the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States is very ambiguous. It's not that defined as it is in the New Jersey Constitution. So we're very lucky we live in this state, because when you say that, it's not something that some of the senators have been saying that, oh, we have to have an official church that has their doctrine or their tenets of the church that vaccines aren't allowed. No, this is your individual right under the New Jersey Constitution to practice your religion personally as you believe, even if you've never been in church in your life. Right. It's your right. And of course, I saved the best for last. Number 6. The grand poobah, as Jackie Gleason would say if you saw The Honeymooners. I did because I was busy writing this whole thing. All right, paragraph 5. I'll get to the good part at the end. I'll read the whole thing. No person shall be denied the enjoyment of any civil or military right, nor discriminated against in the exercise of any civil or military right, nor be segregated in the militia or in public schools. And they covered it all because of religious principles, race, color, ancestry, or national origin, unquote. Now that was the gift he gave to us, wrapped up in a bow. Because they not only want to segregate them, they want to kick their butts out of the school. They want to ostracize them. They want to expel them if they're not vaccinated. That's not acceptable, and it's a violation of the Constitution. And the good part is coming up. It's coming up. And by the way, somebody had sent me a text message, a message on Facebook too, that they're friends with a very good friend of Governor Murphy's wife, and want to know if it's okay to send all this to her to show to him. I said, by all means. because the wife might chew his ear off a little bit. They say behind every good man is a woman. So we'll see what happens with that. All right. So Senate Bill S2173 severely violates and unequivocally is in conflict with 6 aspects of the New Jersey Constitution. Now, by coincidence, there are none, according to Dr. Corrin, and in Hebrew, that Senator Vitale, also besides being one of the authors of this bill, he also was the author of the bill last legislative session, which made the new oath of office into law. The oath of office is the pledge and affirm that they will follow not only the U.S., but the Constitution of the state of New Jersey. Now, what does that mean? It means he cooked his own goose, that's what it means. Little did he know what was in his future. Now, I understand that nobody's ever done what I'm about to tell you as far as a legal approach, a legal, game book, but there's a time for everything, and now's the time to roll up our sleeves and put them to the grindstone. And this is how it's going to be done. You might have already read this on the internet, but it's very simple. That if they violate this, they're waging war against the Constitution, which I wasn't going to say it, but I can't help myself. There's a word for that. It's treason. Treason. That's the word. I was keeping that in my back pocket, but it just popped out. I couldn't help myself. Treason. Just tell you a quick story. When I was 5 years old, I was actually 4 because my parents put me in kindergarten early. They actually forged a birth certificate to get me out of the house. Take me to kindergarten early. And a mouse dropped out of the ceiling. And they said, "Little Mike, whatever you do, don't tell anybody about the mouse." So my father was Big Mike. Of course, show and tell, I told the whole class about the mouse. So sometimes, but I'm very good at keeping secrets, by the way, too, as an adult. But we don't have to get into the treason aspect of it. How about impeachment? Because if you violate your oath of office, it's an impeachable offense. So they can have their butts thrown out. This includes every senator. And they might say, "Oh, I didn't know about it." But I emailed every single one of them. A lot of other people have emailed them. I sent letters to them. And on Monday, I'm sending a certified letter to Governor Murphy, because if he signs this bill, he can be impeached too. I guess it's being live streamed. I guess the cat's out of bed about treason. But life's rough. What are you going to do? If you want to play the game, you got to follow the rules. You don't follow the rules, you get spanked and sent to bed with no dinner. That's what's going to happen. Now, the sad part about this, and also the dangerous part for the politicians, and with my martial arts background, I always go from, if this doesn't work, you go to the next thing. That doesn't work, you go to the next thing. You have to have all your ducks in a row lined up for your battles. And this falls under something I actually teach, which is called unconventional weaponry, which is taking everyday objects, using them as weapons. But here what we're doing is using their own weapons against them, which is the best thing to do. And this is the best part, because I'm working up to this. Besides impeachment, how about civil and criminal prosecution? Now, this is how it works. I'm a chiropractor. I don't do brain surgery. I do brain surgery. You think my malpractice insurance company is going to cover me? I don't think so. When you step outside of the boundaries, you get in trouble. How many people know about the New Jersey Little League law? There's a law in New Jersey from 1986, coincidence, same year as the National Injury Compensation Fund. By 1986, New Jersey was the first state in the country to decide that a lot of these youth coaches were getting sued. Little Johnny slides into second base, breaks his ankle, sues the coach. No good deed goes unpunished. You coach him for free, you get sued. Well, the setup with Rutgers is a 3-hour program. If you took the 3-hour program, you were able to then coach, and you couldn't get sued. And by the way, the Association of New Jersey Chiropractors teaches this too. This 3-hour program. They were getting sued. They didn't like that. So if a coach gets drunk and gets into an accident, that's negligence. If a coach molests a child, that's negligence. But we're given certain provisions. Politicians have certain provisions of protection until they violate their oath of office. Then they're out on their own. So, this is the way it works. If any child got vaccinated because of forced vaccination, any injury or death, God forbid, that would occur could be something that each and every senator or assembly person that voted for that bill could be personally sued and criminally indicted. Now, I have to say, this is my idea. And I'm very happy about coming up with this idea, but I believe God sent it to me because of that prayer. So I can't take credit because I think I'm just a vessel of bringing the information to you. And praise the Lord is right. So, in our back pocket, we have that if the totally ignore, well, first of all, before that, could go to the judicial system, try to have a court injunction placed upon the state because they violated an illegal law to begin with. So there's a legal ploy that could be done possibly. But say they all ignore us, then what do you think will happen with a jury of peers if somebody's on trial and their child was seriously injured and they violated their oath of office? Okay, I'm the attorney, senator, whatever. You have an oath of office? Oh, okay. Does the office include following the Constitution of the state of New Jersey? Well, then go through all the 6 points. Is this part of the state constitution? Is this part of the state constitution? Do you not read it? Do you not care? Was this sent to you by Dr. Evangel, by email, and by letter? Oh, so you purposely ignored it? This is gross negligence and criminal. So, the first parent of a child that's injured could go to the local police department and file criminal charges against every senator, every assembly person. This is the game of Russian roulette that they're playing. They want us to play medical Russian roulette with our kids. That's unacceptable. Neither one of my children have ever been vaccinated. I want to keep it that way, and they're extremely healthy. And I can thank Dr. Ted Coren for that, because I found out about it from him back in the 1990s. They got mad at me at that seminar, the other chiropractors. Do you remember that, Ted? No, not you. The other chiropractors, because it was almost like we were conversing just with each other. He was kind of ignoring everybody else. And they're like, teacher's pet. They're like, man, then we had lunch together that day, so they got mad at me. But he really opened up my eyes for this. And so we don't want to play, and life in general is a giant game of Russian roulette. Well, thank you. Thank you. But life in general is a giant game of chance. Every time you cross the street, you could get hit by a car and killed. Does that mean you never cross the street? No, you look both ways. If a lot of cars are coming, we don't cross the street. Well, a lot of cars are coming, and we're not crossing the street. That's the bottom line. I think I went over just about everything, but just let me just make sure. So, oh, I'm sorry, there's a couple more things here. I have. So we have to demand, and we have a new way to contact the senators now. We have to demand that they follow their oath of office and ask them to read it if they haven't. And the oath of office is to follow the Constitution of the state of New Jersey. Fleeing from religious persecution and embracing religious freedom is one of the reasons many people immigrated to these great United States of America. S2173 would persecute them all over again, which is despicable and totally un-American and unacceptable, I'm sure, to every one of you. We don't always have to agree with each other's religious beliefs, but we should agree to adhere to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of our state. Protect human rights. And at the absolute minimum, tolerate each other's religious beliefs. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. Okay, hang in there. We still have a couple more things to do. We have the New Jersey Vaccine Coalition here. They want to say a couple things, but when they do come up, we want everybody to shut their cameras off because they're going to speak and they don't want everybody to hear what they have to say. They want to just tell us here, okay? We'll keep it private to ourselves. Just, all of you people out here, there's a couple of flyers in the back. There's a list of 8 senators that are here in New Jersey that they're on the fence with the bill. We made some copies. If you can grab, it's got everybody's phone numbers on there, starting on Monday, or you can just start calling anytime, leave messages. We need to get on the phone and we need to call all these senators and let them know how you feel about the bill. They can go either way. We can lose them, we can gain, that's where we are. There's 8 of them that are on the fence. So please just grab one of the sheets back there with the phone numbers. We need to show up in Trenton this next week. You guys have to come. It's Occupy Trenton. It's starting on Monday. They can vote any day. We could be working and they're going to vote on it, so it can go all the way through the 9th. So please, we all need to show up there. We showed up strong in December. The 12th was great. What happened on the 16th, the building was shaking. The senators, they didn't know what to do in there. So if we can do that again, we're gonna stop these people. The whole country's watching us right now. What happens in New Jersey is going to determine what happens with this whole thing for the rest of the country. They're all watching us, so we need to go and show up strong, just like we did. We're Jersey strong. We're the strongest people around. So we need to just make sure we go and do what we have to do. We've made it this far already. It's right in front of us here. This thing's ready to blow up on us. Everybody who's been working, it's been 20 years since I was in school, and they let me know. They said, listen, when you get out there, just watch out for the vaccines. And I didn't know what they were talking about. Then, of course, we have my nephew. He was 1 year old, and he was like everybody else. The story we all know. 1 year old, they're saying words, they're verbal, they're just having a great time. 18 months come, they get those 18-month round of shots. By the time they're 2, they lost all those words. The doctor says, well, it's delayed speech, and everybody just waits and waits. And by the time they're 3, it's full-blown autism. You guys know the story. This is not something that just happened to us. It happened to all of you guys. When it happened, nobody knew what was happening. I watched it. I stood out of school. I spent a little time in medical school too. In the medical school, they said the same thing. So I'm just saying that it's really happening. So we just need to fight strong here. Make sure we don't forget about it this week. Make the phone calls. Get to Trenton. Let people know. Let your friends know. Let your neighbors know. Everybody that you know has family members involved with this, whether it's your cousin, your own family, your neighbor. We all have kids there that are, you know how they are. We're all dealing with this right now. So if we quit right now and we don't show up strong, they're going to pull the wool over our eyes and we're in trouble. So please, do the best that you can next week. Get on the phone. Call as many of the senators. Have your kids call, have everybody call. Call 100 times. Get them aggravated with it. Just call them and let them know how you feel. You oppose it, please. Thank you, please. Remember the New Jersey Coalition, that's what it's for. So we're going to stop live streaming now if we could.